This is my guide for how to make content on YouTube. Well, the creation process, at least. Feel free to copy anything that I say, as you may see fit for your own use. I make in-depth reviews and analysis on every episode of The Office, and honestly more, and I'm dealing with a whole lot of fall damage, so this is going to be some fun. Let's go.
I'm just tired. The days are short. I don't know. Maybe I'm depressed.
Step 1. The Abyss. Step 1 involves hours of personal reflection while I wonder about the deeper meaning of life and the absurdity of everything. And this is often interrupted by actual work. Why call these daily existential crises out as part of the actual creation process? Well, for me, I find that focusing my mind, body, and soul on how nothing actually makes any sense and nihilism begins to creep up on me the older I get, that it actually makes for fertile soil for which content creation can grow from. It actually works for me. And I don't really know if I have a choice in the matter, to be honest with you. Just kind of par for the course for existence for me.
It has been a long, lonely winter.
Step 2, quick workout. I'm not the kind of person who would film my own workouts, so enjoy the stock footage and also footage from The Office. I fight the endless mind games my anxiety organ plays with me by wearing my body out to the point that I don't care anymore. And while I do this for my mental and physical health, I also do it so that I don't get too fat, because for some reason, Homo sapiens have lived on the brink of starvation for like 99.7% of our time as a species on this planet. But now, we've decided that living in security and having a little bit of chunk is not a valuable trait in our kind, which I find a little frustrating and bizarre.
Wow. Seasonal affective disorder, aka SAD. That sounds like a very real thing, Toby.
It is real. Thank you for saying that.
Step 3, Black Mirror. Step 3 is similar to Step 1, but it happens inadvertently every single time I boot up something on my TV. Staring into the bleakness of the black mirror of my television, considering the alternate reality versions of myself that are out there, who maybe followed intrusive thoughts along the way, like in 3rd grade, what would have happened if I did stand up and scream at the top of my lungs at the teacher for no reason and then just sat back down like nothing ever happened? I'm pretty sure that Chris would have gone on to become president of the United States, or like made an app back when like that's something that could get you rich. This Chris is just me. I'm doing good.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, wow. It's almost like we're not all experiencing the same winter.
Step 4, watch The Thing. I make content about office and workplace comedies, so watching an episode or a film is a necessary part of the process. And honestly, it's probably the most enjoyable piece. This is where pondering the duality of the universe, which is both seemingly full of chaos and yet also contains laws that functionally control everything, sets me up for the duality of watching content both as a fan and as a reviewer. And I think that both of those are equally important to bring out the best analysis in the creation process.
You should review movies.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm telling you. Yeah, you should.
Step 6, writing. Personally, this is where some people struggle. This is where I excel. I've always been able to fill a page with little to no effort. In school, I could write a 5-page essay with just little to no problem at all. Well, there always was one problem, and that problem was that there would be little to no substance in that entire 5-page essay. But something that I learned early on, and I think applies to writing for YouTube content, is that if you can't wow them with your brilliance, bedazzle them with your bullshit. Personally, I don't think I'm wowing or bedazzling anybody, but for me, I'm on episode 100 something, so I have a simple process for creating these scripts. It starts with 4 sections to frame up each video review: intro, thoughts, thesis, ratings. Intro is, you want to wow people with an opening statement. And sometimes I'm good at that. And most of the time I don't care, because I know that if anybody clicked through a video essay about season 5, episode 18 of a series that ended over 10 years ago, they're probably going to stick around as long as the setup is strong enough. Oh, and I can't forget to say the same thing that I say in every single video. Hey everyone, I'm Chris and I'm reviewing every episode of The Office ever. And today we're talking about
depression. Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
Dwight, you ignorant slut!
I've also heard that asking a nested question as an opening line is an effective strategy. Did I make a nested question in this video? Have you ever wanted to know how all the pros create content here on YouTube? Well, buckle up, kid, because we're going to show you all the high-speed tricks to go from hero to zero. Doesn't that sound nice? Yeah, nested. Got it. Moving on. Thoughts. This used to be a grab bag of things on how I would package a random pile of amusements that I found from any given episode of The Office into a script. But I started taking that pile of things and crafting a little bit of a story about the episode. I enjoy telling stories, and people like stories. And so the plot points let me talk about the things that I would have talked about anyway, and it also serves to set up the thesis. And can you believe I didn't even plan on including a deeper meaning in any of the early scripts for my videos? I only did it because I was watching season 4, episode 1, and I noticed an interesting theme that ran the course of the episode that I just had never noticed prior to doing this analysis. And the same thing had happened on the following 3 episodes that I watched in preparation to even come up with the idea for this channel. And I realized that this was going to be a thing. Now, my deeper meanings and how I write them have definitely evolved throughout the series. And that's kind of the point, right? That sometimes you have an idea, it won't always be what the finished project is. You got to know when to drop different aspects of things and just focus on what you're good at. Speaking of that, ratings. Be careful with ratings. People have just big feelings that I don't ever understand about the way I rate things. But, who cares what Chris subjectively... Anyway, after I have my full script, the very last step is to erase it all and start over because it was crap. Or...
We'll do it live! F*** it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Step 6, filming. I never intended to actually be on screen. I was living in blissful anonymity, and then the pandemic hit, and for some reason I decided to go full video. And we all did weird stuff, but now I'm pot committed. I have to do this. This is what I set up. A filming setup is really simple. I don't use anything very fancy, just a simple point and click camera that you can grab off Amazon. I just point it and I click it. Sometimes I'm standing over here when I should be standing over here. We'll figure that out. Step 7, editing. If there's one thing that I actually do excel at in content creation, it is editing. I can write very easily, but I'm not always good at it. But editing is probably where I have leveled up the most. Unfortunately, I'm way too busy to edit as much as this channel deserves. So I've hired an editor to help with the weekly workload of videos. For one-off videos like this, I'm typically the one doing the editing. Look over here, I'm actually editing it right now as I speak. Without going into the nuts and bolts, editing is, it's pretty simple. You start with a timeline of your entire filmed content. You cut out all the mistakes, the fat, and then from here, your style of editing will begin to vary, whether it's transitions, whether it's graphics, whatever. For Office videos, I write a lot of clip injections into the script. So we drop those as hard and fast as that which would be pleasurable for the viewing experience.
That's what she said.
From there, we finish the edit with mastering the sound, clip timing, graphics, and, this thing's ready for human consumption.
And thus, Michael Scott sealed his own destiny. In a good way.
Step 8, release. Art is and always has been a means of self-reflection, a way to give a message, a way to speak some truth to your community, a way to invoke emotions in your viewer. Good art comes from the soul, but it's really important for mental health reasons that we understand that creation, it comes from our souls, but it is not our soul. It's only a reflection of it. I see creators struggle with mental health all the time on this app, and I've not been immune to it myself. And if people initially love your content or if they initially hate your content, it doesn't matter because the same thing happens. You connect yourself to what you're creating. It's not that they love your content, they love you. It's not that they hate your content, they hate you. And it's all these questions of self-reflection that can lead one down a dark road. My journey on YouTube has been kind of weird. I struggled to find an audience initially, but I had a 5-month-old video get 400,000 views in the course of a weekend, boosting my entire channel in the span of just a few days. And I've grown steadily from there, both in my skills as a creator, but also in audience size. And so one lesson that I've learned is that from that initial boost, that I have no control over anything. It's not like that video got better in the half a year it sat on the shelf. And no huge creator gave me a shout out, no huge internet publication linked to the video. No, the truth is like much more mundane. And it's that video was always decent quality, but it just didn't find an audience until the algorithm lottery was won. And for me, what I learned is that it doesn't really matter how a video does upon release, that it's not some reflection of me as a creator. And if it takes off in the future, then great. And until then, I'll just continue to hone my skills. Which brings me back to my main point. Control is always an illusion. And anyone telling you otherwise is probably selling you something. We want to make order out of chaos. And we observe and define the laws of our universe, but we only see a fraction of infinity. And that observable portion sees a rock hurtling through space containing hairless apes wrestling for power, wrestling for the absurdity of our own existence, all along the way doing kind of terrible things to one another, as well as creating beautiful works of art. It's wild. This world, it's easy to think that nothing really matters. But I matter. To me, at least. And if I matter to me, then you probably matter to you. Which means that honestly, the best way to think about it is that you should matter to me because I want to matter to you. Because at the end of the day, seeing and being seen by each other is all we really have on this journey. It's the ones we love who can bring us through the dark times, breathe in perspective, and lead us through the fears, which I find comfort in and I find hope in. And it's also why I love The Office so much.
Society teaches us that having feelings and crying is bad and wrong. That's baloney.
Did I finish writing I didn't finish writing a conclusion to this video, so
Dwight, you ignorant slut!